Hey guys, welcome back to the library. The range. Today we're going to be going over a couple of these antique firearms in my collection that I currently have. Over time, obviously, this is probably going to grow, most likely. So a lot of these rifles that you see here on this table today are from pivotal points in history. These first three are World War II. We got this guy right here. This is Spanish-American War era. World War I, and just turn of the century, the last one right there, which we will go over every single one individually. I've acquired a lot of these because for a lot of you people that don't know me, I'm actually an apprentice gunsmith. So I work with a lot of different types of firearms, and I've acquired many over the years as well. And yeah, so let's kind of dive into some of what we got here. So for this first one right here, you guys have seen a YouTube short and a YouTube video on my channel. This is an M1 Garand. If you remember from that longer video that we did, this is a 1942 production between August and September. And obviously it's in the standard 30-06 caliber. A lot of the repurposed M1 Garands were turned into 308 just because 308 is more common round nowadays and cheaper as well. This barrel was actually replaced after the Korean War, 1955, by the manufacturer, this is a Springfield Armory M1 Garand. We got the strap and everything. It's very clean for the year and everything. I take good care of it, or at least I try to. And yeah, this is definitely one of my more prized guns in my antique collection.
Do you plan on getting a bayonet for it?
I do want to get a bayonet for it. Just had a little bit of trouble recently. Also, I've been a little busy, but I do want to get a bayonet for it. So yeah, that will definitely be in the cards in the near future. This next gun right here we got a Mosin Nagant, which I haven't done a full video on yet. This is one we did on our YouTube short in the beginning of the channel's history. This is from 1942 as well. We actually have the stamp date on the receiver right here, 1942. You got the little hammer and sickle above it as well. And yeah, this has been probably one of my longest held onto pieces that I've had. So I've had this probably the longest out of all these guns on this table, except for the one. This one's in 7.62 by 54R, or rimmed. And yeah, I mean, this one's a beast. It's a fireball when you shoot it at the end of the barrel. That round's a pretty nasty round. Not as powerful as a 30-06, but I'd say pretty beefy round. Next one we got here, we have a Czechoslovakian 8mm Mauser. This is a VZ24, and this I've actually looked into, and I have pinpointed that this was made sometime in 1939, assuming during the German occupation of Czechoslovakia. This one also has a bayonet lug. I'd love to get a bayonet for this guy, and this one is in 8mm Mauser. This one's definitely a fun shoot. This one I got from when I worked at a gun shop, and the guy traded it in. He just needed some cash, and I looked at it right when he came in, and then I went up to my boss and was like, hey, I really want this. And yeah, so that's definitely a nice piece in my collection. This next one is a little bit of a more unique one, and I've also done a YouTube short on this. This is a Springfield Armory model 1898 Krag Jorgensen rifle. This is chambered in a, obviously not so common anymore caliber, 30-40 Krag. This was actually one of the first center-fire bolt-action rifles that the U.S. military adopted, and this was used during the Spanish-American War. Now, this specific version is actually a carbine, so they have a rifle length and they have carbine length. So this one's more of the shorter barrel. This wasn't sporterized or anything like that, but it was definitely ahead of its time. The more unique version of this is, obviously you have the side loading gate, so you just put all those rounds in, slap it closed, and lock and load and ready to go. So this was definitely something I'm very surprised that they didn't just keep making, or at least keep using, or something similar to this action. Like I said, definitely ahead of its time. Then the model M1903 came out in 30-06, which was basically a Mauser action, so there's that. Next one here is definitely one of my more prized, besides the M1 Garand, more prized rifles here. That's this guy right here. This, if you've played Battlefield 1, this is the Martini Henry single shot falling block rifle. So this was used during World War I, And as you can see here, you have this little lever here, and you have the falling block, hence why it's a single shot falling block. So this was actually chambered in a very unique round, and just like, unlike all these other guns here, this is actually shot with a special type of ammo. So everything here on this table except for this and the last one we have here is all shot with smokeless powder. This is actually still using black powder, just contained in an actual cartridge. So it still shoots like a live cartridge, just it uses black powder instead of smokeless powder like you have in most modern firearms today. This is chambered in a round called 5.77/450 Martini Henry. So it's a 45 caliber bullet. And what's really unique too is because the ammo is so hard to get, you can actually get an adapter for this that you put into the bore, and you can actually shoot 45 ACP ammo like a 1911 round out of it, which is very unique. So that's one's going to be a fun gun to shoot later in this video. Don't have a lot of ammo for it, so I gotta use that ammo sparingly. Last one, and probably I'd say the most unique one here, is this guy right here. This is an 8-gauge shotgun. This is made by Davenport. Very, very old shotgun. I believe this was made somewhere between 1900 and 1910, 1912, something like that. And actually the history of this shotgun and the family who makes these lines of shotguns is very unique. So like I said, it is an 8-gauge shotgun, so that in itself is very unique. Because, you know, you have 12 gauge, 10 gauge, 20 gauge, 16 gauge. There's a couple other unique shotgun shell sizes. But for this being an 8-gauge single shot hammer fire shotgun, very unique. I'm actually going to put a link to the video where I found out about this shotgun, more of its history, in the description below and probably in the pinned comment. But from what I was told about this is on the butt plate right here on the stock, this is the family crest for the family that made this line of shotguns. So as you can see here, it's actually a person with a noose around his neck. So from the video I'm going to link in this video below, the history of this is that is the family crest shotgun. So what the history from this was is the family who made this line of shotguns, they were the game wardens of where they lived in England. So it was along the port of the River Dane, and so they didn't have last names. You were named from where you lived. So they were the game wardens. If they caught you trespassing, poaching, anything like that, they hung you. So that was the actual history of this. So the people, the family that made these shotguns were game wardens from where they lived over there. So little nice little history lesson there. And now we're gonna go over the different cartridges that they shoot and actually shoot them. Alright, so I'm gonna go over the different ammos that these guys use, which I kind of already explained when I went over all these guns, but just to kind of give you a feel for what they look like and everything like that. So this one's for the M1 Garand. This is your standard 30-06. This is probably what your granddad still shoots out of his hunting rifle. This is a very common hunting round, 30-06. This is what the M1 Garand was originally chambered in, and like I said, a lot of them were repurposed to shoot 308 as well, but I'd rather have the original caliber. So that's 30-06. So we got that guy right there. This is 7.62x54R, and the R obviously stands for rimmed. As you can see, you have an actual protruding rim from the bottom of the cartridge by the primer. And this is what the Russians, the Soviets, used during World War II. And actually, this rifle model has actually been around since 1891. So this is actually a very old cartridge. This cartridge has probably been if not the most, probably the second most used cartridge ever in the history of firearms. Then this next one for the Mauser, we have 8mm Mauser. So 8mm. This is a soft tip ammo right here. And there's nothing really special about this. It's not rimmed or anything like that. It's just one of the Mauser cartridges they use. They had 8mm, I think they had 7mm, and a few other, I think like 6.5 different kinds of cartridges for the Mauser. The Mauser Action is very common action. It was copied by many different countries. So this was a common used action of a rifle in most of Europe. The next one here, we got the 3040 Krag. So if you guys are familiar with a lever action 3030, well, this is just one step up. This is 3040. And this one is also a rimmed cartridge, kind of like the Mosin. And this was one of the first service rifles that the U.S. military used. And as I said, it was during the Spanish-American War. Not a super hard-hitting round either. Obviously, you'll see when I shoot this. Not a crazy amount of recoil. It's got a little snap to it, but that's about it. The next one, the Martini Henry. This one's a unique round, and the reason why I don't have a lot of ammo for it is because not a lot of people manufacture it anymore. Plus, the special kind of brass. So this is that 577/450 Martini Henry. So, as you can see, it looks like a thing of lipstick, really. This is just a .45 caliber lead bullet, seated into a not even a normal modern type of brass. This is actually a special kind of more malleable brass that is used for this cartridge because of how old it is. But so I keep all these shells. I'm going to try to reload them. But as I said, this actually has black powder in it, if you can hear it. It's just sitting in right in this little bottom recess here. But yes, it's a very unique round. Very dirty and messy round. Makes me cough every time I shoot it. I've only shot it a couple times. But yeah, so there's that guy. And for this last one, I'm not going to be shooting, but just unique to actually show you what it looks like. So this is the 8-gauge shell. So this is an 8-gauge brass shell. So they actually made two different kinds of ammo for this because they have two different types of 8-gauge shotguns in general. So you have your standard hunting, which this would be considered, and then you have your industrial, which I don't have a shell for, but it's like, you know, your general, more modern shotgun shells where they had the, you know, polymer on it, and you just load the wad and everything in, the powder and the actual shot. Those were actually used for clearing kilns with all the slag and all that, so they would actually hold it against the wall and shoot it off. But just to give you a size comparison for this 8-gauge shell, so this shell is actually, if you can see here on the bottom, it is a 3 1/4 inch shell. You can see the little hole where the primer is supposed to go. So a little bit of a size comparison. This is a 50 cal shell. Fits nice and loose inside this 8-gauge shell, so you know it's a pretty big round, or shell really, going off inside this guy. I'd also be a little bit scared to shoot this because I haven't figured out if this is made of Damascus steel or not. For those of you that don't know what Damascus steel is, it's basically layers of different kinds of metal or steel made into a solid object, or, you know, in this case, the barrel.
Layers of steel into a solid.
Yeah. But over time, that degrades, and that can actually compromise the structural integrity of the gun itself. And I don't want to be holding a live pipe bomb, so I'm not going to be shooting this. Plus, I also don't have the ammo for it. But just nice little showpiece that I wanted to show off for this video. So now we're actually going to get to shooting these guys. So stay tuned, and we're going to get downrange. Alright guys, so first one we're going to shoot here on the range today is the M1 Garand, obviously in 30-06. Got a round in here, and here we go. Alright, so because this is a semi-auto, and this is also a long-stroke gas piston system similar to an AK, this doesn't really kick too much with the 30-06 round, unlike a standard bolt-action rifle or like a pump rifle that uses 30-06 that would kick a lot more. This one's pretty manageable, so that one's not too bad. Let's get on to the next one. Alright, the next one we got the Mosin 7.62x54R. Got one round. That one kicks a little bit more. Still not too bad, but I feel like the longer I keep shooting these guns, I'm going to have a different reaction. Right now my shoulder doesn't hurt yet, so let's get on to the next one then. Next one, we got the VZ24 Czechoslovakian 8mm Mauser, 8mm round. That one, still not too bad, but definitely, I'd say probably kicks about the same as the Mosin, maybe a little less, depending. Really all depends on the person, but alright, let's go get on to the... Alright, so here is the 3040 Krag. As I said before, this was definitely ahead of its time. So you have the side loading gate here, and in here you actually have a follower kind of like a magazine like you have in your AR or something like that. So when you put in that round, just falls in, close it up, and it's ready to go. Now, surprisingly, this one actually kicked a little more. It could be because of the shorter barrel and everything, but still, you know, a good whomp to it. And yeah, this one I think is probably, out of all these ones up to this point, one of my favorite, just because of how unique it is. But let's get on to this next one. Alright guys, so this one is the last one we're actually going to be shooting, and this one is probably the more unique one to actually shoot, just because it is black powder ammo, and this will actually be the first time my cameraman gets to see me shoot this.
Woo!
I've only shot this a handful of times just because, like I said, I only have so much ammo. This is that 5.77/450 Martini Henry round. And yeah, it's going to get a little smoky. Just going to prepare you guys. Fair warning. Falling block. Just loads in like that. Closed. And now it's ready to go. And here we go. A little smoky. Kind of smelly too. And here's that spent cartridge. Pretty filthy round, actually. All that black powder and stuff. I actually do have to clean this later today now, so thank you very much for that. But yeah, no, this is definitely one of the more unique ones I have in my collection, so yeah. Alright, let's get back to the table. Now that we're back at the table, I'm just going to go over the shotgun, the 8 gauge that we're obviously not going to be shooting. So I'm just going to show you how, you would load it. So this is only a single shot, so you got your little lever here like a double barrel shotgun. Opens up, you got your empty chamber, got your 8 gauge shell, just pop that in, and that's really it. And you got the hammer, cock it back, and obviously nothing happened. And unloading, you have your little ejector, it just pops there enough that you can grab it with your fingers and pull it out. And that's really all there is to this guy, but like I said, this is more of a wall hanger for me right now, or at least, like a showpiece. Other than that, it's definitely a great piece of history. So other than that, guys, this is all the guns we got here for right now. Hopefully over time there will be more added to the collection. I'll do an even longer video, even better video. I want to thank you guys. We're almost at 200 subscribers. By the time this video comes out, we might have over 200 subscribers. If you like the content that we produce every week for you guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us even further, we have our apparel site. So we got military surplus, we got apparel, custom apparel, we got stickers, and we got a whole bunch of other stuff coming down the pipeline soon. And actually right now, at the time of this video being released, we actually are running a sale for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So if you enter Mythic25 at checkout on our site, you get 25% off your whole order. And that's also while supplies last. So what we have now might not be here by Cyber Monday. So after that sale is done, we're going to restock, and hopefully we'll have another sale by Christmas time. So again, thanks for tuning into our channel, and see you next time.